Welcome to Eternal Night. Tonight's story takes us deep into the dark heart of England, where headlines screamed, fear ruled the streets, and one name became a nightmare: the Yorkshire Ripper. He was a husband, a truck driver, and a seemingly ordinary man. Yet for 5 terrifying years, Peter William Sutcliffe was the most feared man in Britain, known by a name that still sends shivers down the spine: the Yorkshire Ripper. How did this man, who blended into any crowd, manage to evade capture for so long while committing some of the most brutal crimes in modern history? The answer reveals as much about society as it does about the killer himself. Born in 1946, Sutcliffe grew up in a working-class family in Yorkshire. He married in 1974 and held a steady job as a heavy goods vehicle driver. On the surface, he was unremarkable, a man you wouldn't look at twice. But beneath this mundane exterior was a monster waiting to be unleashed. Between 1975 and 1980, Sutcliffe embarked on a reign of terror, murdering 13 women and viciously attacking at least 7 others across Yorkshire and Manchester. His campaign of violence began by targeting sex workers, a group of women who were tragically marginalized and often overlooked by society. This initial focus shaped the police investigation in ways that would prove disastrous. The media at the time sensationalized the case, creating a chilling portrait of a phantom-like killer. Headlines described him as a slight man in a gray suit with a polite manner, a stark contrast to the horrific violence he inflicted. One report famously noted how he could melt into any crowd, a ghost who haunted the streets of northern England. As the years went on, Sutcliffe's choice of victims expanded. He started attacking women who were not involved in sex work, students, and professionals, shattering the public's false sense of security. This shift exposed a fatal flaw in the police investigation. They had become fixated on the idea that the killer exclusively targeted prostitutes. This bias meant that other victims were initially not linked to the same perpetrator, causing critical delays and confusion. The police, overwhelmed and under immense pressure, were chasing a shadow, and their efforts were about to be derailed by one of the most infamous hoaxes in British criminal history. In 1979, the investigation took a dramatic and misguided turn. A man calling himself Jack sent letters and an audio tape to the police, claiming to be the killer. The tape featured a man with a strong Geordie accent from the Sunderland area. The police became convinced this was their man. This hoax, known as the Wareside Jack tape, diverted massive police resources to the northeast, away from Yorkshire where the real killer lived and operated. Sutcliffe, who had a Yorkshire accent, was effectively given a free pass. He later confessed that he felt as though divine forces were protecting him, as the police were now looking for someone who sounded nothing like him. The irony is staggering. Peter Sutcliffe was interviewed by police a total of 9 times during the 5-year investigation. 9 times, he was in the same room as the people hunting him, and 9 times, he walked away a free man. He slipped through the net because he didn't fit their preconceived notions. His accent was wrong, his appearance was ordinary, and he didn't match the psychological profiles they had developed. The police were looking for a monster, but they couldn't see the one sitting right in front of them. The focus on the Geordie accent meant that Sutcliffe, a local Yorkshireman, was repeatedly dismissed as a suspect. The night of January 2, 1981, finally brought an end to the terror. Police officers on a routine patrol in Sheffield noticed a car with false number plates. The driver was Peter Sutcliffe, and with him in the car was a young woman he was likely about to attack. He was arrested, and once at the police station, the pieces of the puzzle finally fell into place. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Sutcliffe confessed. He calmly told detectives, "It's all right. I know what this is all about. I think I'm the man you're looking for." During his trial, Sutcliffe attempted to claim diminished responsibility, telling the court he was on a mission from God to kill prostitutes. His defense painted a picture of a man driven by divine voices, not by his own volition. However, the jury saw through this. They rejected his plea of manslaughter and found him guilty of 13 counts of murder. He was sentenced to 20 concurrent life sentences, which was later converted to a whole life order, ensuring he would never be released from prison. Sutcliffe spent the next 4 decades behind bars, his life a subject of endless public and psychological scrutiny. He was moved between high-security prisons and psychiatric hospitals, with his mental state constantly being assessed. On November 13, 2020, Peter Sutcliffe died in hospital at the age of 74, still a prisoner. His death closed a chapter, but it didn't end the story. It reignited questions that have haunted the case for decades. Were there other victims whose cases were never linked to him? How many lives could have been saved if not for the catastrophic police errors and biases? The Yorkshire Ripper case became a powerful lesson in the dangers of institutional failure, profiling, and the way society's prejudices can have fatal consequences. It forced a reckoning within British policing, leading to significant changes in investigative procedures and how major incidents are managed. The story of Peter Sutcliffe is more than just a true crime tale. It's a dark mirror held up to society, reflecting how our biases and assumptions can blind us to the evil hiding in plain sight. It reminds us that the value we place on victims directly impacts the pursuit of justice. The monster wasn't just the man with the hammer and the screwdriver. It was also the system that allowed him to hunt freely for far too long. Thank you for watching. The story of the Yorkshire Ripper is a somber but important one. If you found this video informative, please consider liking it and subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into historical events that shaped our world. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Eternal night never ends, and neither do the mysteries. Every shadow hides a story, and the deeper you look, the darker its secrets become.